Yeah, ride like a big shot. So trucking is like any other kind of job, you wake up, you get ready, you prepare, you have breakfast, you go out, you hustle, come back home. Well, some people come back home, some don't. Or like me, I'm always on the road for. Right now, I'm doing 30 days, 5 days at home, 4 days at home. Some people do 3 weeks, 3 days at home. Some people do 2 weeks, 2 days at home. Some people are out for 2 months. Well, it depends. Own operators, I don't know how long they're out on the road because I mean, it's your truck. You can decide to be out for 2 months and then be at home for whatever time you want. You can decide to be out on the road for 6 months and be at home for 2 months. I mean, if you've made good money during that time to cover up for all the other months. I mean, when it comes to if you lease the truck, and all that stuff. But well, tracking gives you a different dimension. So today I'm gonna talk about a couple of things. I'm gonna talk about the pre-trip. I'm gonna talk about driving segments, the fuel, the food, all the things that you thought about tracking. Explain a little bit about the tablet that we use when you're driving, and to give you like a kind of like the picture of what it is when you have the 70 hours, because you have 70 hours a week to drive. So I'm gonna dive deep into that throughout this whole video. But before I get into the video, I just want to explain a little bit about tracking. Okay, because I personally growing up, truck drivers tracking was never seen as a job. Like it's a job, but it's not like a professional job. Let me say, like people driving trucks weren't so much respected, like where I grew up from. But I think over the years, with all the advancements and everything, to the extent that, like in Sweden, to become a truck driver is very, very hard, extremely hard. I don't know if I've made a video, but I think if you check out one of my videos, you'll notice that there's a video I'm talking about getting a truck license in Sweden compared to the US. Like in Sweden, you really have to study. You have like 3, 4 exams you need to do. You need to do C, that's written and driving, CE, written and driving. It's actually considered professional training for truck drivers in Sweden. So it's been professionalized over the years. Okay, but back in the years, in Uganda, there was no, you just sit and then watch what the other guy is doing. You get you get your chance, you drive as well. You're good to go. The next day, the next time you are a full fledged truck driver as well, cruising down the streets, going all the way to Mombasa and all that. But yeah, trucking in the US on the other side was, to me, it was a bit easier to get their license and to go through the school, the study material, everything. To me, it was, if I compare it to Sweden, the bar wasn't that high to get the license. But in Sweden, the bar is that high to get the license. So that's like kind of like the only difference. Their trucks are a little bit different. They have the nose in the front. In Sweden, we don't have. Maneuvering backing is different. They have, even the ones that are joined, they're joined differently. They're coupled differently. They drive a lot of semi trailers. It was not my first time to drive a semi trailer because when I was in Sweden, I actually started. No, I had training on a semi trailer, but then I was doing uh, a box and a trailer at the end of the day, which I learned from a TV. I need to make a video about that. Like I did a semi trailer when I was learning how to drive the trucks, but when I was done, they didn't have semi trailers where I was working. You had to drive doubles, or a straight trailer, a straight truck, and a trailer. That I learned on the TV in about 2 weeks. It's all about getting the concept. They are called simulators. That's what we used to use in Sweden. So, but yeah, they drive different trucks. They have a lot of like Freightliners. They have Peterbilts. They have only one Swedish truck type, that is Volvo. I haven't been into I haven't entered a Volvo in the US. I definitely want to go check it out. You know, the inside, check out the cabins, check out the front, and I think the most important thing is the seat. Because for me, tracking is all about the seat. You know, if the seat is comfortable, I'm good to go. But if the seat is not good, I usually have trouble. You know, I have a lot of trouble. So for me, it's the seat. But what I heard was that Volvo has really nice seats. That's the one thing they say about it. And then the other type of trucks, like this one right now is an international. I would tell you no. I've been in a Scania. I know how it feels. I will tell you the international. I've driven a Freightliner. None of these trucks come close to any Swedish truck, Volvos and Scanias. I'm not bashing the American trucks. I haven't been in a Peterbilt, like sat in it, but the two that I've driven, their seats are not that comfortable. The infotainment, you know, I feel like Scanias are really good. Like I said, I haven't been into a site in a Peterbilt or Kenworth or any of those, so probably they have, you know, better setup. But anyway, so the industry, the trucking industry is, you know, sometimes they say, oh, it's going down, or some people say it's going down. Some people are like, no, it's stable. Some people say you cannot make any money in trucking right now. Trucking is dead. You shouldn't be tracking. You shouldn't be doing this. But for me, I'm gonna say this. For me, tracking is passion. You know, there's passion behind when I'm sitting behind the truck, you know, and I'm driving. I cannot say that, oh yeah, okay, I don't care about the money, even if it's not good. I do care, but at the end of the day, for me, it's always been about, I need to enjoy what I'm doing. If I'm going to drive the truck, I need to enjoy. Or if I'm going to do a kind of certain kind of job, I need to enjoy the work that I'm doing. For me, that has been the thing with me. So a lot of people come into tracking, but they don't really know why they're there. They're like, okay, let me try tracking. You see 1 year and a half or 2, 6 months, they're out. You know, it's because they don't have passion, you know. And I like working by myself a lot. So that also, you know, adds up. Like, I don't like being under supervision and, you know, do this, you can do that, you have to be here today, you can be here this day, you know. So yeah, so tracking for me has been a passion. I've done it for a couple of years right now. Now I'm in the US. It's going so good. I've crossed so many state lines. I've met so many people. It's a little bit different on the streets here. You know, people are more aggressive than in Sweden. Like, you need to be really careful, you know, when you're driving out here. It's not as easy as Sweden. You know, people are just gonna let you go. So much respect for the truck drivers now. Here, it's a bit different. They're more aggressive. So, but all in all, there's always respect for each other. Truck drivers. There's a lot of trucks here in the US moving up and down. Yeah, but so I'm gonna break down all these things, show you how my 70 hours a week are broken down, show you what everything that we do, you know, from the tablet to how I feed, to how I break up my drives, when I take my breaks, what kind of breaks we have. So many things I'm going to talk about in this video. So make sure you watch at least 70% of it, because the most interesting part is at the end. The money. The money. You know, everyone wants to know about the money. How much those people make. You know, everyone thinks truck drivers are rich people. They're not rich people. Maybe some are, but yeah, I'll talk about the money at the end of the video. So make sure you check out 75% of the video, because the money's towards the end, okay? But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and don't forget, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. If you haven't liked, make sure you like the video. You can, okay, ride like a big shot. So today we're gonna have a pretty long video, but I know you guys have all the time to watch it. Right now I'm in Colorado, Denver. I got here yesterday from Arizona. I'm gonna be here for a while until Tuesday. Then Tuesday I'll be heading back to Arizona. From Arizona, I'll be heading back to California. So it's Sunday today, and it's the end of the week, but you know, the start of a new week as well. So In the US, you have 70 hours to work in a full week. 70 hours. So if I compare that to Sweden, in Sweden we had you could work like 48. Well, they want you to work 40 hours, but when it comes to tracking, it's really hard to work only 40 hours because traffic, this and that. So you're never going to be having 40 hours a week. You're going to do more than that. But anyway, in the US, you have 70 hours to work in a week. So that's an extra 30 hours if you were to work 40 hours in Sweden. What is like the normal there is 40 hours. You have 70 hours to work in the US. So that means you work more hours in the US. I think also that means the payment is a little bit higher, right? Makes sense. Okay. So let me start with the hours. The hours in Sweden we worked, because I think you had to drive, I think it was 4 hours or 4 hours and a half, maybe around there. Then you take a break. Then you drive, take another break, and then you're done, right? So in the US, in the state of California, you have 11 hours to drive in a day. You have 10 separate paid breaks you need to take. And I understand this is only in California. And you also have 30 minutes. Now, this is like everyone in the US does that, 30 minutes. But in California, if you're a California driver, you have an extra 10 minutes, that's 20 minutes that are state paid. You can take them, you don't have to take them if you don't want to. But yeah, we kind of like have longer hours of work in the US, but it doesn't mean that you can drive all the hours in a week. Some people fail to drive all the hours. Some people exhaust them. It depends on how organized and with all the shipments and everything, so you don't really delay. But yeah, so in this video we're going to talk about working hours. We're going to talk about driving segments on the road. We're going to talk about the fueling. We're going to talk about dispatch. We're going to talk about the logbook. We're going to talk about the ELD. And we're going to talk about a little bit about the money, and a little bit about what really people maybe misunderstood about tracking, or what people thought about tracking and what the reality is. I have a video about the reality, the tracking reality and all that. You can check that out. But I'm going to maybe break it down a little bit more in this video. This is going to be a pretty long video. But anyway, so today I'm going to talk about 70 hours, how I personally break down my 70 hours, what I do in the 70 hours in the week. Now, for starters, at first I was doing teams. Then I moved to solo. But when I was doing teams, one of the guys in the dispatch told me something. It was like, because so their pay period is from Sunday to Saturday, okay? But when your time runs out, you need to do a reset so you get your hours back. So before, every time we used to have a reset in the middle of the week or on a Tuesday or Wednesday. So there was some kind of imbalance in our paychecks, because you work a few days into this week, you take a break, then you start, and then the week is already ending, and then blah blah blah. Long story short. So this guy tells me that, hey, if you want to max your week out, always do your reset on a Saturday, Saturday. So Sunday, you have a fresh week. But he told me this is more possible when you're doing teams, because when you're doing teams, there's what they call a rolling reset. That's the right word. So this means that, so I'm supposed to do 34 hours. My teammate is supposed to do 34 hours. But this is what they do. So for you to have a rolling reset, now this is the first thing. For you to have a rolling reset, you must, who's gonna do the last shift, I must have 10 hours of drive time, at least 10 hours plus. You can have 11, but 10 hours. So that means that If you start your reset, you're done with your shift, you start your reset, you go put yourself into the bank or sleep up. I do 10 hours of my shift. That accounts for 10 hours of your time in the sleeper. So that means when my shift is done after 10 hours, or log out 10 hours and a half, that means you've already done 10. So that means you have to only do 24 hours. I have to do 34 hours. But then that means when I shut down, I'm going to be in the sleeper with you. We're going to be in the chilling for 24 hours only, because when he does 24 hours, he's ready to roll again. But I have 10 hours left. That means when he starts rolling after his 34 hours is done, I do 10 of his shift. Make sense? So that gives us the 34 hours. So that's a rolling reset. Very good, very good way to get the hours back. But so that also means that if you guys want to do a rolling reset and the last person to drive has less than 10 hours, you have 6 hours, 7 hours, no, you can't. You must have 10 hours plus. I mean, you can let me know in the comment section if you know more about the rolling reset and everything. But according to my GTL, or the driver team leader, that was what he kind of like explained, how the time is broken down and how you get back your hours. So he always advised us to have 10 hours, the last person who's going to do the shift, so that you only have one day. So, and that explains why most team drivers, they're always rolling. They're always rolling. Like you literally have one day. Like you only have 24 hours when you're not doing anything. Now, on the contrary, solo. Like right now, I'm doing my 34. But that means I need to do the 10 and the 24. That means I have a full day and more 10 hours, completely nothing to myself. What does that mean? That means I rest more. So if you're thinking about, I have a video about solo and team driving. I think I talked something about fatigue. So if you do teams, there's that kind of, I think there's always going to be a burnout at some time, because I feel like you're not rested enough. A good example. So I have this load, it's supposed to be delivered on Tuesday. Okay. But I have a lot of spare time before I can drop it off. Okay. Yesterday, I wanted to start rolling at 10, but I went to bed pretty late. So instead of sleeping, I checked my clock. The time I wanted to move was like 7-8 hours. So I shifted it an extra hour or a half. Now, you can do that in teams. No, because when you do that, you're going into your teammates' hours. So you need to get rolling. So teams is always like on the move. And they say teams, they make more money, blah, blah, blah. I don't seem to agree to that from my own experience. Because depending on how much you're paid per mile, I make close to what I used to make in the teams by myself, though you make more miles because you get less pay as a solo than teams. But you need to make more miles, which is okay. I mean, I don't have any problem with that. But so, so teams, you're always moving. Solo, you have more time. Okay. So now, the 70 hours, that's how you get them back. So like right now, I'm trying to get back my 70 hours. Okay, so now, pre-trip. See, in Sweden, we never used to do a lot of pre-trip. I'll be honest with you. Okay, maybe it was me, but no. I think I saw other guys that I used to work with. Pre-trip was always there, but it wasn't. Okay, we used to do pre-trip. We never used to do it to the bone, like in the US. Like, I remember we used to come to the terminal. Everything is ready. The truck is already loaded. You go through your paperwork. I think I spent more time going through the paperwork than doing pre-trip. You go through the paperwork, you organize your first stop, second, third. Yeah. So, like I was saying before, you need to have all this info, the loads you're having, how many miles you're gonna drive, usually the weight. Now, when it comes to the weight, you go to the weigh scales. So when you're done loading your truck, you drive to the scales, and you get to weigh how much you're carrying. When I started driving in the US, I never used to drive and go to the weigh scales, but I read somewhere and I was watching YouTube clips about, when it comes to the weigh scales, like if you if you get caught, in overweight, I know the fines are heavy even in Sweden. Like if you don't, if you're overweight, the truck, it can be really disastrous. But yeah, I think in the US, pre-trip is really taken so seriously compared to Sweden. Uh, Maybe some parts of Sweden, I don't know, but anyway, the guys I used to work with, pre-trip was done, but not as effective as like in the US, if I may put it that way. But yeah, so now I'm going to talk about driving segments. Now, when it comes to driving segments, I'm going to talk about how I do my driving, how much I drive, when do I pull over, when do I take the brakes. I'm going to talk about the brakes as well. But the thing is this: I've also come to realize that I'm not a nighttime driver. Nope. No, I'm a day driver because when I was doing Thames, I used to drive at night. Sorry, during the day, but I used to start my shift around 3:30, 4 ish. Now, I remember the first hours between 4 and 6. Oh my god, those were the most hectic hours of the whole day because it feels like for me when the sun is not out, I'm sleepy. I just, more so if I don't have my coffee with me. Oh my god, I can't do anything. So the advantage that I had when I was doing teams was that all the guys that I drove with, worked with in the teams, they were new drivers. Now, usually new drivers are always curious. Now, these boys I worked with, they were curious about the night, how it feels driving at night. So every time I got, a teammate and like, okay, what time you want to be driving? I'm like, what time you want to drive? They're like, I want to drive at night. I want to know how it feels. I'm like, okay, cool. I want to drive daytime because, I want to see, the country and everything. Like, oh, okay. And they know you're not from the US. They're like, okay. So I got the opportunity to drive during the day all the time when I was doing teams. So I didn't drive a lot during the night. But in Sweden, I used to drive at night because there was a time I used to drive from Norrköping to Växjö, and that shift was only at night. It was post office, loads. From this side, you meet a guy from Stockholm, he gives you his load, he goes back with the load from the south, and you take the load from the north. So that was at night. But to the place was like 3 hours and a half, maybe 4 max, back same time. Like 8 hours, you're done. In Sweden, we never used to drive a lot of hours. Trust me. Like here right now, I drive 10 hours and a half, 10 hours, 45 minutes. Sometimes I max almost like 10 hours and 50, almost doing 11 hours. Like, it's crazy. Like, you drive more hours than Sweden. So, but yeah, driving at night is not my thing. Even right now, the loads that I drive, you're supposed to deliver them at night. So at some point, you have to drive at night. And trust me, driving at night, it's going to take some time for me to get used to it. I like driving during the day. Like when the sun is out, like even when I'm driving at night and the sun just comes out, I feel like, okay, yeah, now I'm good to go. I'll just be going. But yeah, so my driving segment is broken into, depending on how I feel, 3 phases. I drive the first phase, take a 10 minutes or 30, depending. Drive another segment and the last segment. So usually when I wake up and I don't have the appetite, I drive about 3 hours or 4, have a 30 minutes break, eat, drive another before 8 hours elapse, take another 10, drive another 2 hours, take a 10, or go all the way until the end. So I usually have 3 segments. Sometimes I have two. Break, take a 10, you know. But those are the weeks when I'm really strong. I'm feeling strong and I'm, energetic. But when I'm not so energetic, I can even stop for like 4 times, like take the breaks. Because one thing that I know about this tracking is that when you're tired, you need to rest. You need to rest. Because trust me, it takes just a slight dosing and then that truck will be off the road. I can guarantee you. So the best thing you can do for yourself is to rest. And every time you take a break, you come back with, you're energized. Okay. So that's why it's very important. So every time I feel like I'm getting tired, I always pull over, take a 10 minutes, 15 minutes break, sometimes a 30, just to recover and just be safe. Yeah, and I think everyone needs to actually just, take some time, take a break, because there's no rush. You don't have to be like, I have to be in this place at this time, and you're driving, you're all sleepy and all that. I've been involved in an accident once. It's believed the guy was sleeping. So trust me, you don't want to be in that position. And you can always tell when you're starting to get sleepy. Your body will always be telling you like, hey, we're getting sleepy right now. Okay. But yeah. So now the brakes. So the brakes. So California, I think this only applies to California. But California, we have 10 minutes, 30, and a 10. Now, the 2 10s are paid, state paid breaks. That's what they call them. And then the 30. Now, the 30 minutes, that one is official, like DOT. You need to take the 30 minutes break before 8 hours. So you have 11 hours of drive time. Then you need to take a 30 minutes before you reach the 8th hour. Okay? So you have 11 hours to drive during the day, but you have to take a break before the 8th hour. You can take it anytime. But California residents, we have an extra 20 minutes, but broken into two, 10 and a 10. You can decide to take them if you want. You don't want to take them, it's okay. But I usually take them because they're state paid, and I mean, why not? So yeah, so those are the breaks you have when you're working. Depending on when you take them, it's up to you. As long as you don't, the 30 minutes though, you have to take it before the 8th hour. So yeah, I usually don't like going to the like like right now I'm at a pilot or something, like a full scale truck stop. You have to find parking. Maybe you have to get off the road, the freeway, drive maybe a minute or two to get there. I like pulling over, like the truck stops on the freeway. Simple, branch off, then get back on. That is if I'm not taking a 30. But if I'm taking a 30, maybe I can go to a gas station, a diesel station, and just find space and then chill. But other than that, I usually just pull over, simple on the truck stops, on the freeway. Take a quick one, and then I don't like wasting time. That's the thing. So yeah, that's how I do my breaks. There's a guy in front of me right now. I think he's gonna, have a simple accident right now. I hope he doesn't. But anyway, fueling. So these companies, they have fuel cards. Okay. So these fuel cards, you can have fuel from anywhere you want. But what happens with my company is that when you have a load, like let me say right now, I came from Arizona, coming to Colorado, they will put like 2 fuel stops for you that they want you to go and get the fuel. And I think it's because they get fuel discounts. They get some discounts when they go to those specific fuel stations. So they want you to fuel at those fuel stations. So someone was asking me, okay, so are you the ones who pay your fuel, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no. We have fuel cards. Now the fuel cards come with a rewards card. Now I'm going to talk about the rewards card after this, but the fuel card, you can get a washer fluid. You can buy so many things with that fuel card. You always have it with you. Yeah. Then you have the reward card. Now the reward card, someone was asking me, okay, do you guys shower? How often do you shower? Well, yeah, we shower actually. Like right now, so these reward cards, right? When you fuel a certain amount of diesel, they give you points to the extent that they can give you, like right now, I have free showers until the end of April. So I can literally shower every day without maybe paying extra money or having to put diesel. And it doesn't matter where you work because they have pilot. It's a franchise, so it's everywhere. So everywhere you go, you can shower. It's not like a specific one. Anywhere you go. So you collect these points every time you go uh, fill up your diesel. You get points. Now, the good thing also about these points is that actually you can use the points to buy things in the store. I usually buy my coffee with the points. You know, a certain amount of points can be worth $3. You get a coffee. Sometimes in the app we have free things like, you know, if you fuel a certain amount of diesel, they'll let you have like a free coffee, a free something. You know, it's like giving back to you. So there's a lot of like positives that come with the fuel card. So yeah, so I'll show you my rewards card and everything in a moment. Food. Yes. I don't cook. I don't I don't cook. I don't eat a lot of truck stop food. No. I do a lot of salads. I buy a lot of salads actually. I usually get my salads from Aldi. I can have like I can get like 3 salads or 4 salads, and that would take me like 4 days. I just put in the fridge, check out one at a time. And I have pasta salad as well. I have my pasta salad, so get a pasta salad and the salad itself, mix it up, eat something to drink, and then I sleep. Breakfast, I usually have cereals, a fruit, and bread. Yeah, that's for my breakfast. I never miss breakfast, by the way. I never miss breakfast. I never miss my dinner. I have 2 meals in a day. Yeah. At one point, actually, I felt like I was dieting because I was I was literally having salads like every day salads, like real salads, just greens. But it's good, because the food at the truck stops is not the best. A lot of like fries, chicken, blah blah blah. And you don't want to be having that all the time when you're on the road. No, you want to be eating something healthy. But yeah, so I don't cook because I don't think it's in my nature as well. It's not in my personality to cook. I'm not a very big fan of the kitchen anyway. So plus I don't want to be causing a fire in the back here. So no, I don't. So yeah, the sleeper. The sleeper is where we sleep. So when I was doing teams, we were 2 guys in the truck. So one was sleeping up, one down. Right now I'm by myself, so I have the whole space to myself. No one else. So the sleeper is pretty comfortable. The bed is pretty wide. Actually, can fit 2 people. You have extra extensions. You wanna, charge your phone. You wanna do anything you want. I have a laptop. I watch games. YouTube, all these things. I have an extra laptop. So I have a home theater in the back there. Okay, maybe not home theater, but truck theater. I guess it should be called a truck theater. But yeah, it's pretty spacious in the back. I have a video showing you my truck, the inside and everything. So if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. So you can see how the sleeper looks like. The truck is really spacious. There's a lot of space, like in the back. You have these curtains. So when you're going to sleep, you just close and close here as well, and you're gone. Yeah. Now, another point is the dispatch. So when I was in Sweden, I barely talked to the dispatch. So dispatch, these are the guys that you're in touch with like throughout the whole day. About the loads, about the customers, if you have any problem. These are the guys like you direct contact with. But in the US, dispatch is so important compared to Sweden. Why? Because like me right now, I'm paid per mile, not per hour. What does that mean? That means I have to be on the road a lot. Like I have to be on the road when I have to. Like if I have a shift, I've had my 10 hours break, I need to be running. If I'm going to sit for 5 hours to wait for a load, I'm not making money. If I'm going to sit for 7 hours before I get a load to start running, I'm not making money. If I have a drop off a delivery, like, and I have to wait maybe 8 hours before they can unload me, I'm not making money. That means your dispatch has to be good enough that he plans your loads, so that there's not like that bit of conflict. Like you have to wait, you have to do this, you can just connect all the time and get going. So yeah, dispatch is very important. If you have good dispatch, you're gonna be moving, you're gonna make money. If you have bad dispatch, you're gonna be seated still, you're not gonna be making money. So dispatch is very important. I think it's one of the most important things in the US. In Sweden, no, I barely talk to my dispatch. I knew so much already that I can even go like a week without talking to them. And I think it was also easier in Sweden. It was more of distribution, the shops you're going to, where everything is. You come pick your peppers, jump in the truck, get going, deliver, come back, drop the truck, go home. You repeat the cycle. In the US, there's a lot of planning. Like right now, the loads that I drive, you have to call in with the dispatch, give them a trip plan, tell them where you're going to park, where you're going to do this. Sometimes I don't even do it. I just send them a message on the tablet. But yeah, it's more structured in the US than Sweden, if I may put it that way. So dispatch is very important. Good dispatch, good money. Poor bad dispatch, no money. Simple as that. Now logbook. Back in the days, they used to have a book where you write, your logs, like I'm driving, sleeping, this and that. But then they shifted to the digital kind of like setup right now. So now we have digital logbooks. Everything is electronic. I'll show you a little bit of this. So that means it's not easy to do it. What's the word? Like, to have wrong times and to drive beyond the time you're supposed to be driving. I hear some people do it. They go around it, but I don't know how I don't know how they do it, but I don't think they have to, because you have to rest. I mean, why should you drive 15 hours or 17 hours or 13 hours? Just drive 11. It's okay. You're trying to make more money, but your life is more precious than the extra hours you're putting in. So yeah, the logbook, this is electronic, so everything is electronic. We don't have the paper. The ELD, electronic something display. I don't know what the L stands for, but so this one here is like this one with my company. It shows you the workflow. Now when you come to the workflow, this is where you have your loads coming in. They show you where the load that is coming in, where it's going, when you're supposed to be there, more details. So everything is in the workflow. Yeah, you see your past deliveries, literally everything. So the workflow is really important. You have to check everything. I remember there's a time I was working with a guy, and we got caught up in a place and he didn't know what to do. So we were doing teams. So I woke up and I'm like, what's happening? And he's like, man, we just go to this place, but I don't know. There's no one on site. What should we do with the load? I'm like, what do you mean? It's like, there's no one here. So what I do is that I check in the workflow. So in the workflow, everything was actually there. Literally. It was like showing you, it was actually telling him, hey, when you get here at this time, there will be no person on site. So put the trailer in this port, leave the papers in this box, literally everything was there. But that's the thing with the new drivers. They don't know some of these things, and they kind of like get caught up in all these things. And that is how they end up as well wasting a lot of time, because I feel like new drivers, they waste a lot of time. And that is why you also make less money, because if you are to make 5 hours, maybe 3 hours, if I make 3 hours extra in a week, a new driver will make 3 hours less, because that's wasted time. They don't know what to do, where to look, and all that. So the ELD, like this one has now hours of service. This is where you see how many hours you've worked, how much time you still have left on that week to work. You can check your previous hours to see, how your hours of service look like. So it's a very important part of the ELD. Trip plan. So trip plan, this is where Now, this company actually, they have something interesting with this application. So the trip plan, you literally can, so they developed an application whereby if I'm going to go from Arizona to Colorado like I did, they will put for you stops, you know, already breaks. It's up to you to accept them and then, say like, okay, I'll stop at this time. But still, you can always change. You can be like, okay, like me, I drive 3 hours and I take a break. So I put a break. I say I'm going to drive from this time to this time, take a break. Okay, they tell you, okay, when you stop at this time, there's parkings. You can click, find the parkings in the area, and then go park and then drive again. So I think they were doing this to help you easily find parking places, because yesterday when I was driving to Colorado, I had to drive 10 minutes from the freeway to find a parking spot, the truck stop. It wasn't even a truck stop. I don't know why. I had to find some open space where I was for the 10 hours. But this application helps you find quick truck stops on the freeway. Like usually it's like always a minute or two getting off, and then you can always get back and get going. So it's a very good, very important application, the trip line. I like it so much. Then you have the navigation. So the navigation is the navigation, like how the word is navigation, literally. If you're heading somewhere, you can just go in, type in the address, then it will take you there. Someone told me you need to get your own navigation. But you know how much it costs? It's about $400, a good one. Right now, I'm like, okay, wait, should I invest $400 in a navigation? No. Of course, those are like track navigation. It's really good. I like it. But trust me, right now, what I do is this. If I know I'm going somewhere and I'm not so certain, I start the navigation on the ELD, on the tablet. I start navigation on my phone. Now, the only difference is that my phone is giving me navigation for a car, not a truck. So I follow both. Usually the truck tells me, my phone tells me, like when I'm going to go on the freeway, I'll be like, oh, turn right. Then the tablet tells me go left. I usually follow the tablet. I just take that one. Or maybe I need to go to a truck stop that I'm not so sure about how it looks like. So I make sure I don't leave the freeway. So if I come close and my phone is telling me go off, 10 minutes off, and then no, then I don't follow it. I just keep going. But maybe with time I'll invest in the navigation. But yeah, then we have teams. So the teams, this one is where you communicate with the dispatch and everyone who is helping you around. So this one here is very important, or it was very important when I was doing teams, because at night we never used to have a lot of dispatch on site. So that means actually you would get help quicker if you use the teams than when you call them. Because someone is going to call and they're going to be in a call for 5-10 minutes. But when you use the teams, I don't know, for some reason they would get back to you real quick. They would even advise you to, hey, use the Teams app instead of calling directly. So yeah, the Teams is just getting in touch with the dispatch. If you have, trouble somewhere, you just write on the Teams. Yeah. You can always update your NAT. NAT is next available time. I always had trouble updating this. Because you have to tell them that, okay, after dropping this load, I'll be available this time to work. Please put a load on my truck. I always had trouble updating this, but I'm getting better at this right now. But yeah, the tablet is very good. I really like the tablet. I like the technology. It makes your work very easy. And I like because I also like doing solo work. I feel like now I'm in control of so many things. Before, I wasn't that so much, but now I feel like everything is moving in the right direction. Now, I'm going to talk about money. Money rules the world. That's what they say. If you have money, you can do so many things. Well, there's so many well-paying jobs, okay? But I can also tell you that tracking is one of those jobs that can give you good money. But the thing is, in the start, the money may not be so much, but with time, it accumulates. But okay, now money. When you just started straight out of school, you have your CDL. I can guarantee you, you're not going to get that much money. Why? It's orientation, You're being oriented into the industry. Everyone is just testing you. Trust me, most people, most new drivers, they have their worst time in the first 6 months or the first year. So that is why in the first month, they give you very low pay. Number one, because you're gonna make so many mistakes. There's a guy I drove with. We had to be told twice or three times. It was during the winter anyway. He wasn't used. He's California born and born and raised. He's not used to snow, driving on snow. That time we always went to Connecticut, New York, you know, and you know that side, Virginia, that side it snows. 3 occasions we got towed. So we got told there was an accident as well. So you see, all those things, ain't nobody gonna pay you good money in when you just started trucking, because every time you get towed, the company is losing money because they have to pay for the tow truck. We had the accident, they had to change the whole door. The company is losing money. But a more experienced driver may not really encounter all these problems, you know. Like me, I haven't had any situation with my truck. I haven't been told nothing, literally. So that's why some companies be like, oh, we want experience. Because experienced drivers, yeah, accidents happen, but there are accidents and things that won't happen with an experienced driver. Some things that a rookie would do. Like, I remember that same guy. He was bobtailing. So those who don't know bobtailing, like, you see the trailer has the front bit. When you take off the trailer and you're driving only the front, you're bobtailing. He was, dropped the trailer and was just trying to back up and wait for the load until it's ready to go. And while he backed up, I think he backed into something, and the mud guard was kind of like not broken, but twisted. So I was doing pre-trip. Pre-trip, I was like, "Hey, did you back into something?" I was like, "Yeah, I was like, "Okay, cool." Now things like that, an experienced driver may not make such errors. It's like even getting stuck in the snow. Like, you can always tell when you're an experienced driver, like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna get stuck, so you don't move. So yeah, the pay is not gonna be good at the start, but as you get more experience, 6 months, 1 year, it starts to get better. I know you're wondering, okay, how do you make each month? Well, I don't make that much right now because I'm also still on probation, but if you keep watching my channel in the next 6 months, maybe I'll come back and make a video showing you what I started with earning and what I'm earning right now, so you have a good picture of how you earn in the industry. So yeah, then I want to talk about stress. I mean, truck driving is kind of stressful, actually. Not kind of, but it's pretty stressful, because imagine you have this big truck you're driving and you have so many cars around you. You have to keep an eye on everyone. Cars are cutting across you all the time. You have to be alert. So there's a lot of stress. Driving through Los Angeles is not easy, trust me. No, the traffic is too much. Los Angeles, Chicago, these are places where you don't want to be. Trust me, the traffic is heavy. So much going on. You have to be alert. Remember, but any accident by a truck is maybe 10 times bigger than a small car. You're going to cause so much destruction, so you have to be really, really careful when you're driving the trucks. Yeah, so it's stressful. And like people who drive the trucks whereby you have deliveries, you have to be on time, you want to stress, like, like, oh shit, am I gonna be there on time? There's a lot of stress, like, example, you're backing up, you don't want to knock anything, you don't want to break anything, because when you break something, one or two things, you're going to be late. Yeah, so I got done with the stress bit of it. Now I'm going to talk about some of the things that are misunderstood when it comes to tracking. I made a video talking about the reality of tracking, and if you haven't checked it out, you can check it out to know exactly, the things that are not actually, people don't actually know about tracking. People have these weird thoughts and, everything about trackers and all that. But let me try to break it down. Number one, someone asked me, so how often do you guys shower? I've already told you in the video, we have free showers, with the points. So I'll be honest with you, when I was doing teams, the guys I was working with, sometimes they can go a day. Even me, sometimes I could go maybe a day, but I would, I think not more than a day. I would, because for me, I used to do it when I have my 30 minutes break. I would just go shower. Now I'm driving by myself. I can plan everything. And when you're doing teams, it's kind of like a little bit tougher to shower more often because you're always moving constantly. You stop your shift, the other guy jumps in, you're going. So you don't get a lot of time to, be like, okay, let me go take a 45 minutes, 1 hour, I'll drive within 1 hour. No, because the other guy has to start driving. But when you're doing solo like I'm doing right now, I decide I can say, okay, I'm going to take a 45 minutes break, take a shower, drive after. So you shower more often as a solo drive, unless when you're just not into showering. But other than that, as a solo driver, I think you should be showering every day. But yeah, so people, we shower and we shower often. I have a video talking about showing you the showers. If you haven't checked it out, check out my the other videos I have. I show you the inside. It's very nice, it's probably better than some of you people's homes, the showers there. But yeah, um the food. So another misconception is that people think that truck drivers, you eat bad food, you're gonna get fat, you're gonna get this, blah blah blah. That could be right, but the thing is, like for me now, what I do is that I eat a lot of salads, take a lot of water. I have some weights there. I will show you. I have two 30 pound weights. When I'm done with my shift, in the back, I do a little bit of lifting before I go take a shower. So yes, I don't work out as much as I should or would have wanted to, but I do my best to train a little bit, to keep in shape. So yeah, when it comes to the food, I don't know, I don't really represent everyone, but yeah, we try to have healthy meals. That's what I try to do anyway. So another misconception is about the money. Yeah. So people think that truck drivers have a lot of money. Da, 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 da. Well, yeah, probably some have, but not all. Not when you're just starting. I had own operators like they make a lot of money, but also they have a lot of stress. Now this goes back to the stress bit of it because I personally want to get into being an own operator, but that means that I need to take care of the finance, the fuel. Of course, they will tell you lease purchase, all these things. They tell you, you don't have to do all these things. There's someone helping you with that. You just have to take care of the driving and the money when it comes in. But still, you need to have an effort you put in. You cannot leave everything to, someone managing everything. You have to plan as well. So when some people lease under a company, probably they help them with, I've looked it up. They help you with, the fuel. They give you a fuel card. So when you make the money, they just deduct all that. You don't have to personally go and do all that. So now that's all the stress. You think about, okay, this week having, the truck is in the shop, you're not making money, you have a lease payment to do, it's coming up. Like, all this is stress, trust me. But if you're having a good week, if you're having a good run, you may not really, notice all these things, but it's pretty stressful. But yeah, the money bit of it, the money's there. Being a company driver, I'm going to make a video about being a company driver and an owner operator. So make sure you check that out. Everything has pros and cons. But I'll make a video. Make sure you check that out. But yeah, so that misconception about the money, I want to put it away. That the thing is this as well. Now, when we talk about money literacy and everything, making the money is easy. Keeping the money is the hardest part. Okay, so yes, a truck driver may be making a lot of money, but the baskets that have holes, when you try to pour water, it just goes through. So you make a lot of money, but also just goes through the window. You have a lot of expenses with you, so you're not going to have the money. So you need to cut your expenses, or your living standards. See, the thing is this: most people, every time they get extra money in their pockets, they increase their the expenses as well. So you're making more money, you're increasing your expenses. So it's not going to make any difference, you know? You need to control how much is going out. So when you're on an operator, you need to know however much you're making all this money right now, you cannot increase your, step up your lifestyle. You have to keep it the same, so many things you have to put into consideration. But yeah, that is it about the money. I'll make a video, to talk about all these pay rates, how much people get, depending on which country. Another misconception about truck drivers. So if you've noticed, or maybe you haven't, depending on where you're watching the video from. So, because I was born in Uganda, so there's a plant called, what is it called? There's something anyway they eat. Okay, now this helps you to stay awake. Mira, yes, mira. So these guys used to chew this cat. I think it's cat. Yes, cat in English. Cat. They used to chew this to help them to stay awake while they drive. Now, in the US, I remember one day I was told, I was, after dropping off a load, I was like, hey, nothing is coming through. And I got a message like, hey, Alan, you have a drug test right now. Just park the truck at the operating center, go to the hospital. They do a test right now. No time. You're tested on drugs, all these things. So you cannot do anything, can you take anything illegal and then drive? So in Africa and other places, probably they don't do that. So some people think that for you to stay awake, you must be on something. But no, that's not a fact. No. The only thing that we high on, like me, I get high on my coffee and my water and my snacks and my good rest. That's it. Sleep, I always try to, I have 10 hours break. I usually do at least 8. 2 hours dedicated to my own self, do things, train, go shower, be on the phone a little bit, and then sleep. Not every day, but yeah. I try to get to bed at least 8 hours. And being a solo driver, that means I can even push and I sleep an extra hour. So, but yeah, we don't use anything while we're driving. We only do that. Good sleep, coffee, cereals. Oh yeah, wait, did I talk about breakfast? I forgot. So food, I talked about the cereals. I forgot, sorry, the salads. I forgot to mention that I ate salads. Cereals in the morning before I start driving. So I have cereals with milk and bread. That's like my typical breakfast. I never miss breakfast, by the way. And this is something that I've been doing for all my life, from when I was young. It's been for me, breakfast is one of the top meals that I have to make before I start driving. Now, so my 70-hour is kind of like, that's how it is, like in the week. Usually I try to have my resets on a Friday, Saturday. Okay. So I usually try to do 10 and a half hours every day, 10 hours and a half, 10 hours and a half. If I have good runs, that's how I am. So my week is like that. That is like the things that I have, around me and everything. I have a video showing you, there's a place that I want you to watch towards the end of the video. It's Oregon. Very beautiful place. I was going to actually sleep there for the night. So I recorded the view. I'm going to put it, make sure you watch it. Like, I show you a very good peripheral view of the place. Now, all these sights you have when you're driving the trucks is one of the reasons that actually I love tracking. So make sure you check that video out. It's going to be at the end. And yeah.